Hi, I'm Jeanette and welcome to my channel where I share information on solo trips I've taken and solo trips I'm planning to take to help you think about and plan your own solo travel. In my last video, I talked about an upcoming Thanksgiving cruise, which I'm really excited about. And so today I wanted to share with you some things that I always take on a cruise. I admit I always overpack. It may be because of these things that I'm about to show you that I always take with me. And we're having a little bit of a lighting issue today, but we'll get that fixed for the next video. But I will start with some of the things that I always take for my cabin. First and foremost, disinfecting wipes. I always take these. And I think we learned a few years ago how important these things are. And I've always taken these, and my friends used to laugh at me for disinfecting a room that was already clean, but they're not laughing anymore. And I always clean my cabin, even though I know that they have deep cleaned it, but it makes me feel better, and I will do it more times during the cruise if I feel like it needs it. These are wonderful. I also take things for the cabin bathroom. I like my own soap. Sometimes in the bathroom on a cruise, they have those little hotel bars, which I don't know if anybody likes those, but I like my own. So I take my own solid soap in here and I leave it by the sink. And then when it's time to go, pack it up and away it goes. This smells so good. It's Aruba Aloe soap, which just smells wonderful. Now I also take magnets. Now, I take magnets to stick on the ceiling. A lot of people don't realize that the ceiling oftentimes is metal, and the walls just to hang things on, scarves, bags, and especially if you're sharing that space, the more space you have to hang things on, the better. So I always have a bunch of magnets with me, and I really, I use them always. Now, I also take an extension cord. Some of you may know that on a lot of the older ships, we didn't have cell phones and all that stuff to plug in and charge back in the day, but we do now. So I always take an extension cord. This one is allowed because it doesn't have a surge protector. I believe that a lot of cruise lines, they may take your extension cord from you if it has a surge protector. So if you buy one, take one with you, make sure it doesn't. I got this on Amazon, not expensive at all. And it is a godsend because I am one of those people, I travel with a tablet, a laptop, a phone, so I can plug everything in and be good to go there. Now I also take my own soaps and gels and shampoos. Yes, they often have shower gel in the cruise bathroom. They'll have a combination shampoo conditioner, and that might not be the best for everybody's hair, and we like what we like, right? So I don't bring the whole big bottles. I just fill these up, and I have my shower gels, my shampoo, my conditioner, and it's lovely. Now I also take shower shoes. I love these. They have the holes in them so the water doesn't stay at the bottom of your foot. They dry pretty quickly. Again, I got these on Amazon. They're very light. And when you come home, you can just toss them in the washing machine, give them a good wash, and you're good to go. I just rather have these on than stepping on the tile floor in the shower. I also make sure that I bring some Band-Aids. I used to take a whole first aid kit, but more often than not, I don't do that anymore. But I do bring my Band-Aids, and many times I have shared these because a lot of people forget to bring them, and it's a simple thing. Again, doesn't take up much space in your suitcase, but they're always good to have. And finally, for the cabin, I always bring these. This is, you know, the shower gloves. I love these. Many times on a ship, the washcloths are small or thin, or I don't know. So I really like these. You can scrub up and, you know, rinse them out in the shower, leave them hanging in the shower. They dry very quickly, so they're dry and ready to use the next time. Now, I am a woman of a certain age, and I get hot sometimes. So definitely a staple. I always have a fan. And this is an African fan. Again, you can find them on Amazon now. And I love these because they fold up. They don't take up a lot of room in your bag or your purse. And they give great air when you're hot. And on those days when I am very hot and just can't expend the energy to wave it, I have an electric fan. And it has, USB. I can charge it up. And these are a godsend as well, because sometimes you are hot and it's either start taking some clothes off or get a fan. And you're probably better to use a fan, especially if you're in public. So I love this and always have fans. Now, as far as weighing my bags, making sure I don't have too much, I always carry a portable luggage scale. I use it when I am packing at home, and if I bought stuff, I don't buy a lot of stuff. You may have noticed that I have a lot of t-shirts from the places that I'm in. I don't buy a lot of souvenirs anymore because I've learned they just sit on a shelf. So I will buy a t-shirt, and then I have the t-shirts to sleep in, to wear, and remember the places I've been. But oftentimes I buy too many t-shirts, and maybe my bag is a little bit heavier, so I like to weigh it before I get back to the airport going home, so I know, because I don't want to have my luggage open at the counter. You've seen those people, and you got to take stuff out and try to put it in a carry-on, and so I like to weigh it. The other things that I take are related to food. Now, there's a lot of food on a cruise ship. One of my favorite things is my spices, because there's always a pizza parlor, right? So I always have oregano, some garlic, and red pepper. Now, yes, most of the ships they'll have usually the oregano, some crushed red pepper, but I like these, and they're a little more potent, so I always have them in my bag. They're not that heavy, and it's just something that I take. I also take my own hot sauce. Now, Frank's Red Hot is my favorite. I grew up eating it, and it's hard to find usually on a ship. They usually have Tabasco sauce, so I take a little bottle of Frank's Red Hot, and it's funny, sometimes people will see me using it, and then they go look around the ship to see if they can find it, not realizing that I brought my own because other people like it too. But I usually pack a little bottle of Frank's Red Hot, and I'm good to go. And there is usually ice cream somewhere on a ship, so I also bring my own sprinkles. So I bring chocolate sprinkles for the ice cream because I really like it. And I will usually go to the bar and get a root beer and make my own root beer float, or I'll bring my own root beer on the ship. And I like my ice cream the way I like my ice cream. And it was funny, on the last cruise that I was on, I happened to glance at a guy's backpack when we were on the elevator, and I could see through the mesh pocket. And not only did he have rainbow sprinkles for ice cream, he had his own ice cream cones. And I was like, I have found my people. Now, they do have ice cream cones on the ship, but you like what you like, right? So he and I had a good laugh about that. And he also had straws in his bag, which I sometimes take too, because many times you can't find a straw, or they have those candy straws. So I try not to bring the plastic straws, but I do have glass straws, the reusable ones, and I will use those. Now, oftentimes I will go to get some tea. I am a tea drinker. I don't drink coffee, never have. I drink tea. So I will take my own tea bags. Yes, many times they do have tea on the ship next to the coffee, almost always, but you like what you like. So I bring a few of my favorite teas with me, and I also bring a little bit of honey, something this size or maybe a little smaller. Some ships, I've been on some ships where they had honey and lemon by the tea and coffee, but sometimes they don't. And I prefer honey to sugar, so I take my own. And I also swear by these. It doesn't have to be this brand. This is Boots in London, but These are vitamin C and zinc tablets, and I just drop one in a glass of water. I start taking them before I get on the ship, a few days before I get on the ship, and then I take them the whole time that I'm on the ship. Because you know, you're around a lot of people. We have learned how, you know, some germs can spread. So I take those as just an extra precaution. And I also take extra masks. Now, I don't wear a mask all the time on the ship anymore, but I will if I feel like I'm too close to people and I need to, or I'm very sensitive to different scents. So I have always had masks somewhere. When all of that happened a few years ago, I was one of the few people that had masks because I kept them in my office drawer, because people would come in with cologne or perfume and I wouldn't be able to take it. So I would put on a mask. So now I use them the same way. If I'm too close to people, but if somebody has on cologne or perfume and they're close to me on the ship, or if I'm in a casino and there's smoke from the smokers, I will put one of these on. So I always have extra masks. And I do carry some Crystal Light packets for water and sometimes Gatorade, but I always have something to kind of spice up my water a little bit. And I always have a water bottle, this size or bigger. I use it for water when I go ashore, or at night with my tea. I will make my tea in here so I can have my tea before I go to bed while I'm reading my book. So I always have a reusable water bottle, and you know, these come in different sizes, but always a great thing to have. And the last couple of things that I always have is I will always have a plastic bag or two. And I use these for wet bathing suits or wet flip-flops, or, you know, anything that has something on it and you don't want it to get on everything else, either in your suitcase or your cabin or your bag before you get back to the ship. So I always have some plastic bags for that. And lastly, I always have a tote bag, and just a small tote bag. And I need this tote bag because, as you see, I have a lot of stuff that I'm carrying around the ship, right? And I usually have my laptop or a tablet, you know, my phone. So I don't want to wear my big backpack and wandering all around the ship. So I always have a tote bag, and I can carry all my stuff around in it. And that is, you know, really useful. And that's about it. All my stuff that I usually take. Sometimes I take a little more, sometimes I take a little less. Oh, and I forgot to tell you one thing that I really love are these. Now, I get free laundry on cruises because I get the perks because of my status, how many cruises I've taken. But sometimes I'll only get maybe one bag free, and I want to do my own laundry if they have a laundrette on the ship. So I carry these. I love these. These are laundry sheets. And again, they don't take up much room. And I don't take this whole box. I put a few in a Ziploc bag. And you just drop this in the wash with your clothes. Or if you're washing some things out in the sink, you can just drop this in. It dissolves. And it's lovely. And they come in scents, but for me, I get them scent free. And these are wonderful. I really love this. Saves time, saves space, and saves money. And that is truly it. All my stuff that I usually pack when I go on a cruise. Usually I'm on a ship for 7-8 days at the minimum. I've been on transatlantic cruises 28 days. Recently I was on a ship for about 5 weeks. So I like my things because I'm there for a while, and it does kind of become my temporary home, and I like to be comfortable. So do you take anything when you go on a cruise? Those things, your comfort things, things that make you feel good, things that make other things taste good? If so, put them in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and come back. I'll be back talking about one of my trips, one of my favorite trips that I took earlier this year. So please don't miss it. Thank you again. Happy traveling.